Hey guys, it's Connie here. Today's episode is going to be about 3 ways you're going to move forward from COVID-19. Bye! So guys, the first step is you're going to stop feeling guilty, okay? So listen to what I just said. Stop feeling guilty. So if you ate yourself into oblivion, if you drank yourself into a hot mess, and you gained a bunch of weight, stop feeling bad. So the biggest thing you want to realize is that the last couple of months have been really weird and really strange for everyone. Did anyone ever imagine that we would be quarantined in our homes for months? Like seriously, if we had better advance notice of this, we would have planned better, right? I almost had a heart attack when I thought the liquor stores were going to close, but luckily they didn't. So what you want to remember is this is a really weird time for everyone. So we all did things that we probably haven't done in a while, like sleep a lot, do a lot of nothing, be super lazy. For me, I actually worked a lot on my business, which I was really happy about. It gave me a lot of time to catch up, but that doesn't have to be the case for everyone. And plus I slacked a lot too. I slept around. I basically had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which is something I never do. But when you have so much time on your hands, how could you not? So the first part of moving on from COVID-19 is to really remember that you don't want to feel guilty or you don't want to feel bad about anything you did or didn't do during this weird, crazy time period of being home, okay? So the part that this is all about today, realizing it's how to move forward in a positive, better, more productive way and kind of leaving the past behind, okay? So don't feel guilty, don't feel bad. Today is a fresh day. Number 2, all right, so it's been a couple of months, we've been home, and some of us have been out, and maybe you have been working, maybe you haven't, but a majority of us have been home. What I want you to think about is something very different than the first step, which is about not feeling guilty. I want you to think about something that we normally aren't accustomed to do or we're not really taught to do, and that's what could you be proud of the last couple of months? And so it doesn't have to be anything major or huge, but what can you be proud of? I know for me, when this whole thing went down, going to a store was very intimidating. I didn't know what to expect. You know, you hear all this stuff on the news, which I don't watch, but I get my news through Jeff, and he'll just kind of relay whatever he feels is the most important things. But I don't kind of listen to things that bring me down or that are kind of negative, so I kind of don't. But going to the store for the first time, I remember food shopping was intimidating. And I normally go shopping, well, Jeff sometimes comes, but I normally go during the day when he's working. And the first time I had to go food shopping, I was a little scared. You know, I had to put a mask on, I had to put gloves on. And I remember that Jeff and I decided to pick a day during the week that we were going to go food shopping together. And since then, we go food shopping. We go on Thursdays, like during the day, because not many people are there. Now, don't go, okay, just because I said not many people are there. But so we usually go, and we actually use it we do it as a game. Like, how fast can we get in? How fast can we get out? You get this, I get this. And what's good about it, and the reason why I said going to the food store was a bit intimidating, is because now there's so many rules and regulations, and rightfully so. But you just don't know. I remember for the first time in the supermarket, you know, you see these arrows on the floor. You're like, all right, what happens if I pass something I want on the aisle? And can I back up? Do I have to go entirely around the aisle? You know, so there were so many thoughts that were going in my head, and having Jeff there made it easier because, you know, if I forgot something, he can run and get it, or, you know, the whole waiting 6 feet in line apart, and there were just lots to think about when you think about food shopping. And for me, my focus is, what am I getting? What do I not want to forget? What do I want to make sure I get while I'm there, right? Like, you're going through your shopping list of what you're cooking, what you're going to be cooking, what you would like to be cooking. So that in itself is enough. much less having to think about all these new rules and regulations in store. So for me, I'm kind of proud of the fact that I've kind of gotten it down, as well as I'm sure you have too, where most stores are working a little differently, operating a little differently. So it's just navigating that whole new piece. And it sounds really simple, and it really is, but I'm going to be proud of myself for the fact that I've gotten acclimated to what that looks like. And so when I say, what can you be proud of? It really is, what little thing could you be proud of? And maybe, maybe you didn't clean your entire house like you always thought you would if you had months off, but maybe you took more naps, or maybe you rested more, or maybe you relaxed more, or maybe you read some books, or maybe you had more conversations with the people in your house, which I'm sure that's happened. So the question is, what can you be proud of during the last couple months? And it could be anything. It could also be maybe you left the house, maybe you walked around the block, maybe you got more fresh air than normal. So it's really about thinking, what can you be proud of? Because there's always something that you can be proud of. And again, it doesn't have to be big. It could be as small as trying a new food, or getting more exercise, or getting outside more. It's whatever you make it be. Next is number 3. And I love this question because it kind of really puts things in perspective. And this is really the most important thing I want you to ask yourself. It's, how could this COVID-19 situation make me a better person? How has it made me a better person? And the reason I want you to kind of think about that is because in life, there's always going to be something that you don't want. It could be just a bad experience of something. And the question is, what was your takeaway from it? What did you learn from it? What did you now have a new appreciation for where before you didn't? The question about this is, maybe you appreciate life more. I know for me, not that I didn't appreciate life before, but you definitely do take for granted leaving your house. You take for granted going to Home Goods, which is like one of my favorite stores. You take for granted going to Target. And I know Target is still open, but you take for granted going to a store without wearing a mask or wearing gloves. You take for granted, and I know for me, this is something that has been very powerful to me when I go to stores, in the fact that I love to smile. Like, I just love to smile. I don't know, I find it fun. And when you have a mask on, it's weird because no one sees you smile. So when I go to the deli counter to order food, or if I'm at a register, you really have to give off energy of appreciation and kind of smile with your eyes. You know how they say that? Just because I want people to know that I appreciate them, and I want the energy to be fun and lighthearted. And I know people are all trying to do their best. And so for me, I love to smile. And so I have a whole new appreciation for smiling and people seeing it. So, looking at life differently. Also, maybe looking at your job differently. If you did work during this crazy time period, maybe appreciating the fact that you have been employed and you have had a paycheck, and maybe you haven't loved your job before. And maybe this is just having you understand that, wow, I'm in an industry where my job was essential and I was needed and I was able to work. Or maybe on the flip side, maybe you weren't able to work, and maybe it made you realize that one day you want to be your own boss, and you don't want to be at the mercy of a company that tells you you're laid off because a pandemic happened. So maybe it inspires you to kind of create something on your own, and maybe it inspires you to update your resume and look online and look for something new. And so what I want you to take away from, how has this made me a better person? It's how can you appreciate things in a bigger, better way as a result of what we just went through. And another thing I just want to actually mention too, which is something very near and dear to my heart when we talk about servicemen and servicewomen who have really worked through this pandemic, and like we talk about doctors and nurses and hospitals and all those healthcare workers that have done such an amazing job of showing up each and every day and really being on the front lines and really taking care of people as best as they could in this crazy situation. But I hope it also gives insight to appreciate the jobs that I feel most people don't, and they really should. And I know in our area where we live, there have been times where I've gone to restaurants and I appreciate the waiters and waitresses and the service people that help assist, give us our food, and I appreciate them. And I know it's a hard job. When I was younger, I think I was a waitress for one day. That's all I could handle. And how they really work for us. Hold on one second. It's my bunnies. Hi, bunnies. What's going on? Great. How are you? How was your day? Sorry, guys. That was Jeff. Anyway, so appreciating the people that work in restaurants. Restaurants are a really hard job, right? Like, I appreciate the people that serve food and are on their feet all day, every day, listening to different orders, and appreciate them. Be nice to them. Now that things are starting to open up, be kind to them. They're going to screw up. There's new processes. There's new way of doing things. Be cool. Don't be a jerk. Don't feel entitled. Okay, so appreciate them. The other one is appreciate those working in retail. You know, I worked in retail for years when I was younger, and I loved it. But working in retail is hard. You have annoying customers. You work crazy hours, especially during the holiday. Like when you're shopping in Macy's at 11 p.m. on a Friday before Christmas, are you appreciating the fact that these people are working there to ring up your order so you could have lovely presents for your family? Probably not. Or when it's Christmas and I need gas because I was too lazy to get it the night before, and I pull up to a gas station and there's a guy working at the gas station who is there to make sure I have my gas. Like, how cool is that? Or like the sanitation workers that work in the winter and in the summer, you know, taking care of our trash and making sure that we're able to have that, lovely service, and the post office, and just everyone. You know, I could be here like for days just, showing appreciation for every single job that's out there. And not all of it's easy, and some of it's hard, a lot of it's hard. So I guess what my biggest thing is, don't be a jerk. Appreciate everyone. Plus, we have no idea what people are going through, and it's kind of just called just being nice. And why? Just because it feels good. So again, the third tip, how has this pandemic made me a better person? That's what I want you to really think about, and use that as leverage on how you want to move forward, and how you want to move forward in an even more powerful, positive way in your life as a result. And think about how this time period has really caused so many new realizations and aha moments, and how we're going to be moving forward in a new direction, whichever that may be, like with the masks and all that. But we're going to just go with the flow. And I ask you to do the same thing, because when you go with the flow and you look for the positives, and it's not always easy, and it really does require some effort, but it's so worth the effort because you do feel so much better. So I want you to really think about how this time can really have benefited you, and how you're going to use this time, and not the time like before, but like this time, like as you're watching this video, how you're going to start to look at your life differently moving forward, and how you're going to leverage this time to propel your life in a bigger way. So again, just to reiterate, the top 3 ways to move forward from COVID-19. Number 1, don't feel guilty, don't feel bad. Anything you did in the last couple of months, just get over it. You're fine. If you gain weight, whatever, just start walking tomorrow, or like working out, like, I don't know. Just don't worry about it, okay? Just focus on how you're gonna lose weight if that's what you really wanna do. Not saying it's necessary, but if that's what you wanna do, fine. If you wanna start eating differently and healthier, fine, knock yourself out. Just whatever you do, don't feel bad about what you have or haven't done in the last couple of months. Secondly, be proud of yourself just for surviving. I hate that word actually, but just for getting through this and making the best of it if you did. And if you had the worst of it and you had some tough times and you were emotional, that's cool too. It's called life. It's called, learning how to process things and move forward. And so just know you made it. So that's a really good thing. So be proud of yourself for whatever little thing it could be. And lastly, of course, how can this situation make me a better person to even create an even bigger, more amazing life and feeling really happy and feeling confident in myself? What did I learn during this experience that I could parlay into my future to make it even better and brighter? So guys, I hope you love this video. I love you guys very much. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I will be seeing you in the next video.